Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be taking a look at the song For Hate's Sake by Katahdin on the drums and figure out what's going on. So let's do that. Alright, so usually when I'm working on music, and for as long as I have been working creatively on music with other people, I've tried to document or chart out what is being written. So I'll reference my notebook here. This concept at its core is simple, and as drummers, we can get better at streamlining this process over time as we gain more experiences and references from the past. You can start off pretty simple, but I think it is a pretty good skill to have, and when you are working with others creatively, to be able to articulate yourself as well as memorize what's going on. Now, as you can see referenced from the notebook here, when we were writing this, it started out as Katahdin 8. I usually organize songs that we write in numerical order. When I'm charting, I summarize usually the essence of a part in at least 2 to 3 words, or something that's gonna click for me mentally, where I can associate things with movements. This could be whole sections, it could be fills, it could be feels for what you're trying to do. But charting that down in most layman's terms is the best, I think. And, it's important to know specifics of these things. If there's a sticking that stands out, that there's repetitions, there's bars, there's certain transitions within a song, it's best to write down what works best for you. That could be icons in a list going vertically downward on a piece of paper. That could be really anything, and charting is a subjective thing, but I think an ultimately very beneficial thing for musicians, and especially drummers, where we need to organize a lot of our movements. And it's not just about the notes, and it's not just about shredding, it's not just about this one thing. It's to be able to function on a fundamental level and execute what you want to. Practice creates more freedom for you, because you're building more experiences, you're wiring your signal sending processes. So all of this is very beneficial, and it goes back into the creative process in terms of writing a song and working with other people. It's truly a great thing, and I'm so thankful to have worked with people over time, and especially in the case of Katahdin, working with Max, Luke, Brandon. All of us working creatively is a great thing, and it's just testament to how much fun something writing like No Longer Room for Us, the EP that For Hate's Sake is on, how much fun that really was, because it was a great time. Where we first started conceptualizing the song, and where I first mapped out ideas for drums, was on my DAW Reaper. So by the time I hit the studio, I usually have these parts pretty fine-tuned. I always keep things open for interpretation, even to the second that we go to record it, because you never know who's gonna have an idea that really elevates the song or really changes it in a certain way. And in the instance of For Hate's Sake, not much was changed. We had some minor tweaks, but everything was there by the time I went to track, and we really had an idea. We wanted to start abrupt with energy coming off of it. I got the idea to do this spastic kind of death metal sounding thing on the kit, at least in the second half, which is a good thing to remember. I would go watch a video of Naveen Copperwise. He's a great drummer, amazing drummer, and a musician who showcased this style and this energy quite well. Maybe I was trying to subconsciously channel that in a way. So thanks, Naveen. And for the sake of the intro here, a good way to start is to internalize the bass pattern, which you have straight 30-second notes and orchestrated between the snare, kick and crash. You've got and then you go in to fill in from there, and we can even slow down the playthrough a little bit and whatnot, to kind of get the movements. A good way to start is to internalize that bass pattern and think solo in the second half. See what variations that you can come up with and write on your own, but it'll help to feel this bit of the intro with that key term solo. Because that's what I think is just open up a little more out of the bass pattern. I think this is what my mind came to, and I added in some bells and whistles, literal bells, to highlight the staccato of the guitar and the perceived frankness of the section. So, hold on, let me sip some coffee. Okay, my brain's coming to me. And another good concept to start practicing is what I would consider stacking fours. So, meaning trading off 16th notes between the hands and the feet. This is a good way to build coordination between the hands and feet. And, in perspective now, the beginning of For Hate's Sake is a pretty fast example of that. So you're not going to come out of the gates just swinging and blazing usually. But if you can practice this concept at its core and just stack 2s and 4s at any speed, see, there you have it. So that's a great part. Next, it cuts into the first verse, which is cut time punk style beat, which I added a little double bass to. Notice how I move with the melody of the guitar before going into the halftime section with the bell. So because I wanted to get that feeling of transition where it's syncing up with the guitar, but it's cutting out of that cut time verse a little bit more. So naturally, when I'm making parts, I'm moving by shape and feel. In this case, I very much am. But watch how I set this fill up to end on my left hand so I can move and orchestrate fluidly. I'm thinking about the continuity of movement and how that all connects to how I can play the song in the easiest way possible, but also in a way where I can express ideas like I'm soloing, I'm doing other things. So it almost makes my job easier, but I think we inherently make it like a little more difficult when you're really exposed to repetition and you're really digging in and just trying out a bunch of different things, and that's a great thing. So I'm moving by shape and feel, but how I set everything up, I think that had been an issue for me for a while, is transitioning back and forth from cut time, so cut time, to rhythms to say like regular beats. So I added that in there to give that transition. So when the guitar hits effects, like for this next part in the verse, we have a slight decline in tempo, and I move over to the open hi-hat, and I'm playing the lower notes, supporting the strings with my kicks. So keep in mind here that myself and you in your own critical drumming brain can be moving by sound and shape. When I'm hearing those bumbling, heavy, bassy, hard-hitting lower notes on the guitar, I'm supporting that. I'm feeling the offbeat kicks, That's why I lead into that little bell fill with the embellishment. Everything's coming from a sense of like of rhythm, of feel, and I just want to support the song the best that I can. I understand the quad triplet burst starts out the riff, so halfway through it I match it, that fill itself leading into it with I'm keeping all those things in mind while I'm just grooving along with the track, because again, this isn't rocket science, it's not an experiment, how to make the toughest drum part ever. I'm just naturally A-Bing things. I'm actively adding Lego pieces on and seeing what fits, seeing what doesn't, seeing what I can do to make the situation more musical, give it some more feel. This part of the verse is the lowest dynamic range in the song, so when I play this section, I have a mental signal to keep your quiets quiet and keep your louds loud, because this is the lowest dynamic range that we're hitting. The only binding thing here is the bass rhythm that I'm playing on my kick drums that goes along with the bass line. Dun, 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 dun. We then have a couple big breakdown type riffs, which are straightforward and have the same feel, only the symbol is changed from quarters on the crash in the beginning to eighths on the china. The feet are subsequently following the rhythm. There's a slight BPM decline at the very end to accentuate the rhythm of what I would consider to be the final breakdown. So there's a couple steps that this goes in. This starts where there's just some chugging guitars, some feedback, vocals, you know, I am the departure. The thing about this section is that there's space to lock into the rhythm with this little break. And I'm using my counterfoot to keep in time with that. So we then have the breakdown where that comes in. The cymbal choice contrasts the previous section where I go from crash to china to support the heaviness of it. Whereas this final section, the heaviness feels more coupled with the first section. And the second half feels to open up a little bit more. So I went from the china to the crash to give it a little bit more of an open feel. It's interesting to look at the different moods of each section and just follow along either melodically or just by simple, what do you feel like hitting? It goes from, like I said, tinkering with things and experimenting, seeing what works, and at the time we were writing For Hate's Sake, I guess that's what came to me the best, and I'm happy now to where you know, I can listen to it and appreciate different movements that really drive the song, different things like that. Now, in the last part of the song, the tempo drops considerably and it's just slamming to me. That's how to play it, is just slam it and just focus on your timing, on the downbeats of this section, lock into the click. That aside, you know, there's a couple things to consider with this section. There's triplet double bass going on, which is kind of like a mid-tempo, I would say. It's not too fast to where you're playing super fast, but it's got some groove to it. It's got some like low end where you can really sink into those kicks, time aligning and stuff. I'm gonna sip some coffee. So I hope that gave some insight into how I went about making drums for Hate's Sake, and also just broke down the song a little bit if you enjoy that kind of thing. And I also wanted to highlight how this isn't just about amazing drum parts or trying to be over flashy, or using this outlet to have some superficial meaning to it. It's to just have fun and play drums and play music with other people, enjoy the process, and really get into your own process and see what works for you. Thanks, because that's really inspiring, and to see other people's processes and how they like to create things is an inspiring thing that gives more perspective to people who are also quite passionate about. So I hope to make more videos like this, more concept videos breaking down drum parts, and if there's any questions about this song or another song or just anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. DMs are always open. I have my email. It's just a lot of fun being able to do this thing and talk about drums. So until next time, take care, keep rocking, and we'll see you soon. All right, peace out.